Very good afternoon, everyone. So let's start a new topic, simultaneous equation models. So first today I'll take a problem with these simultaneous equation models, and then tomorrow we will take how we estimate parameters if we have this particular situation of simultaneous equation models. Before that, what is simultaneous equation models and what are the specific problems with these type of models? Okay, so far, I hope everyone is joined. No, only Pallavi and Gagan. Others are going to join, or do we start? Prerna is putting a message that no, it's not possible that for everyone I can arrange again and again. Before starting the course, I take a consent from everyone that are you available between 3 to 5. And that consent has some meaning. So I can't excuse everyone that you can attend again and again. Okay, so still I'm waiting for others if anyone want to join. Sadiq sir is here, Pallavi is here, Nikhat, Neha, Ikra, Gagan, Soumya, Yamini, Nimisha, Nisha, Rima. Pallavi is join. Yeah, Pallavi is join. Let's wait for if Rima wants to join. Rima and Tanya, because others, I think, not continuing with this particular part. Okay, so the further time being, let's start this particular topic. Okay, so first, again going to tell you parameters of this OLS methodology and all these other topics we are studying because if there is any specific problem, the main three parameters of this particular OLS methodology are unbiased, efficient, then consistent. Of course, linear as as we study these blue properties. Now, this first, why these parameters and what how these simultaneous equation models create problems with these parameters of this particular methodology. So why these parameters? The whole purpose is any of the method, whether you apply MLE or OLS, let's suppose this is some particular graphical relation of two variables. Okay, let's say it's quantity demanded and its price, or its price and quantity demanded. Let's take a supply function. That's what this is the population criteria. Like we have this particular supply function. Population means for this particular commodity, the data for all the observations. Whenever we study in econometrics, we do some research. Generally, we do it from the sample observations. So the purpose is that our sample results needs to be representative of the population results. That's the purpose. Means we need a method to estimate this regression line. First, we need estimates to get a regression line. And that's the first thing, that we need regression line, right? There is no, we always have actual data that won't give us the regression line. So we need a regression line. And in regression, for regression line, to get a regression line, we need estimates, this intercept term and slope term, is beta 1 and beta 2 generally that we are studying. But we need these estimates in such a way that population results and sample results needs to be look like the same, so that we can rely on sample results to take decision about the population. That's the whole purpose. Means we need a method in such a way. Then OLS has proved that yes, this particular method is capable of doing this particular target. This unbiased is meaning is that whatever results we have in population, on an average, the sample expected values of beta estimates are equivalent to this population value. Yes, there is a variation. The second thing is that this efficient property estimate make sure that in the OLS methodology that this mean variance is minimum for these beta estimates. These are the two things that we need to make sure that our sample results are nearby population. Exact relation is not possible, that exactly you will get some estimates equivalent to population. So maybe nearby. So that's what we need. So we have adopted this particular methodology OLS. But in this particular methodology, there are assumptions. It's not possible to apply this method every time. So that's why in case of qualitative response models, we applied another methodology because this OLS was not working. But still, it's not that in MLE we don't need these things. Unbiased and efficient estimators and consistent estimators. In MLE, all these properties are there, but they are asymptotically. Means if our sample size will increase, if it's large sample size, more or less results are equivalent to MLE results are equivalent to OLS results. So again, we have this objective that population sample results needs to be equivalent to population results. And that's what these properties are all about. Now, we already did this in the autocorrelation, heteroscedasticity, multicoordinarity, that how these problems are creating problem in these blue properties. So we know that in all these cases, the major problem was that specifically in multicoordinarity and heteroscedasticity, this variance was not minimum, but it was increasing or changing. And again, in the autocorrelation, it may increase or decrease, that depend upon the relation between array terms and correlation between our independent variables. So that will in the end will decide whether variance will increase or decrease. But all these three problems created problem in the assumptions of OLS. But in case of this qualitative response model, it's not only that, but it's the character of the dependent variable that pushed us to apply some another method. That's why we applied a MLE method. So this is the basic thing is in all your econometric methods, I think up to 80%. This is what we are dealing with. One or the other way, this is what we are doing. We are applying some method. Then after applying that method, we have to cross-check whether these properties are fulfilled or not. If not, what are the causes of that problem and what are the remedial solutions? Either it's a model specification, heteroscedasticity, multicollinearity, autocorrelation. Every time we are dealing with these 2 or 3 issues. So in general, if I would say, these are the only 4 or 5 things that you have to worried about. So सिर्फ समझना ये है कि वो चीज़ इसको impact कैसे कर रही है. Like in multicollinearity and hetero and auto, that what are these problems and how these are affecting these outcomes. That's what we are studying, and what are the remedial solutions. Now next we have in this particular series this simultaneous equation models. So first just try to understand what these models are, and is that if we apply OLS method to these models, are they feasible or it will create some problem? If there is some problem, then we need some solution. So that's what we will do in next 1 or 2 days in a simultaneous equation models. So first just you have to understand that what problem they will create. Means it's not the methodology here, but the nature of the model itself. In this particular case, it's not that problem is with the OLS assumption or methodology, no. Here the problem is itself with the model, means the equations you have in the beginning that may create some problem. So first just try to understand what simultaneous equation models are, and then let's look upon their problems with the simultaneous equation models. Now just take this example. Let's suppose we have this demand and supply function. In both the cases, quantity demanded, quantity supply depends upon a price. So let's suppose you only have a data for quantity and price. So how do you know that whether it's a supply function or is it a demand function? Anyone? Okay, Pallavi is saying that from coefficient, that coefficient itself may indicate that whether it's a demand function, but it's not always the case. Means it's not that first we run the model and then let we think about it whether it's a demand function or it's the supply function. We actually, before running any model, we need answer in the first hand, not after running the model. That first we run the model and then we look upon whether the coefficient is positive or negative. That's a reverse scenario, but that's not. We need answer in the first hand that what model we are running. Specifically in this equilibrium models in economics, either in the microeconomics like this demand and supply models, or in macroeconomic structural equational models, there are variables which further depend upon another variables. So this endogenous models, we say exogeneity and endogeneity, that problem is there. So first just try to understand that what these simultaneous equation models are. Pallavi, yes, that may be, but it's not the tool that first we have a data, we are running that and we are looking upon that. But even if that's the case, let's suppose in this demand and supply function, we have graph, we can see with the graph whether it's a demand or supply function. But let's suppose is there some another model? Let's suppose this is the simplest case, but in place of that, let's look upon this particular case. We have this consumption function, right? Then we have an income identity function. That income will depend upon consumption and saving. So now in this particular case, now one important thing is that this cause and effect relation, that what is the cause and what is the effect, that's the one problem. But that I'll take in time series, this causality test and all. That's not a big thing to worry here. More than that, there are few things associated with these properties: unbiased, efficient, and consistent. That's first my objective. That first let's give you the glimpse that these properties are not possible with the simultaneous equation models, and there is a reason behind that. Means why it will create a problem in this unbiasedness, efficient estimators, and consistent estimators. It's not possible with these simultaneous equation models. So before that, and just try to understand these models. They have given, this is why I'm taking from the Gujarati. For example, this demand and supply function. Either we have a demand function or a supply function. Means like Pallavi is saying that if it's positive slope like this, but if we have a graph of this particular nature, we may guess that it's a supply function. On the other hand, if it's negative slope, then we may guess that it's a demand function. So accordingly, we can run the regression and we will estimate the parameters. But that's the thing that we know that thing because we have some theoretical background that quantity demand and price has a negative relation and quantity supply and price has a positive relation. So based upon some theoretical background, we are trying to guess whether it's a demand function or it's a supply function. Like in this particular example, they have given that, let's suppose with change in other factors, if this particular coefficient will shift upward, this demand function will shift upward, then all those points will give us a supply function. But if supply function will shift upward or downward, then it will give us demand function. So it's not easy to guess only from this quantity and price data that we guess that whether it's a demand function. Means we need some extra information. For example, in this particular case, it is shifting upward. Why it is shifting upward? Because for example, they have taken this because okay, let's take this supply function downward because of strikes, weather, import and export, this C case, it may shift downward. And we have these 2 points. So we may guess that this is a supply function. On the other hand, if it shift upward, we may guess that it's a demand function. So in this simultaneous equation models, generally if you read this literature from any of the econometrics books, they have clearly mentioned that it's the researcher's duty to first identify whether that what variables he or she is taking as endogenous variables and exogenous. I'll come to that point. What are the endogenous variables and what are the exogenous variables? But they have clearly mentioned that if you are running any such model where you have this simultaneous equation model scenario, it's your duty that you have to first think about your endogenous variables and exogenous variables from theoretical background. Means here this econometric methodology is not going to help because this model selection is based upon your theoretical background. So you have to think about that whatever model you are running, that what that model is indicating. So if it's more than one single equation, we say simultaneous equation because it's not that one single equation. With single equation, we can run that model. We have a more than one equation. And that's the case here, like demand and supply function. Means if you have to identify, the thing is here that if you have to identify whether it's a demand function or supply function, you need more than one equation to identify that. And there are other exogenous variables that you are required in that particular equation. Then only you can run this simultaneous equation models. I'll take more example, maybe then it will be clear to you. Let's take this second example, consumption and income identity. Now again, we have two equations, right? In the first equation, consumption is depend upon income. In the second equation, income is depend upon consumption. Now again, we have two equations. So in this particular case, when we have a first function, this consumption and income, and in the second case, this income depend upon consumption and income. So if we have this particular model, Let's suppose if we run these models and we try to estimate these estimates, coefficient estimates of these models, then in the end, the thing is that will we get would we get this consumption function or the income function, the second one. So in this case, if we will get these two estimates, we'll get this income function, not the consumption function. So in these cases, the thing is that let's win this first case. These both the two scenarios are possible, right? So in the end, we have to guess that after running these two simultaneous equation models, that in the final, after final estimates, what the equation, the regression line we have, that line is for which function? For example, in this particular case, if we run these two models separately, then that's a different issue. That if we run this particular equation, we have this particular line, and if we run a consumption function, we have this particular line. That's a totally different scenario. But what if we run it simultaneously? Then which line we will get after running these estimates? So that's the thing here we have to identify that which equation we will get in the end. So for that, first we have to understand endogenous and exogenous variables. For example, again, this particular IS equilibrium, this macroeconomic models. Now, consumption depend upon income, then tax is a function of income, investment is a function of rate of interest, then disposable income is a gap between taxable uh, actual income minus taxes, then government expenditure is some constant term, then national income unity equation is national income is equal to consumption, then investment and government expenditures if it's a closed economy model. So if we run simultaneously all these equations, then the first thing is that OLS we can apply here? That's the first question, that can we apply, we estimate all these estimates, parameter coefficients with OLS or not? That's the first thing, that is it that we can run the OLS? Then second, if we run the OLS, is it that we will get all these estimates, all these coefficients? These two things we have to take in account in these simultaneous equation models. The first, that can we apply OLS? That's I have mentioned here. Second, if we apply OLS, let's say we apply OLS, means if it's applicable, is that we will get all the estimates? The results will be unbiased, efficient, consistent. That OLS has to take care. But if it's not, then it means we can't directly apply the OLS. That's the first thing we have to think about it, that can we apply this OLS methodology or not? Second, if we can apply OLS methodology or any other methodology, is it that we will get all the estimates? These two problems we have to study in the simultaneous equation models. But before that, there are many other things that we have to understand. But first, if still any one of you, is it clear that what simultaneous equation models are? I'll come later on about the problems. What are the problems if we apply the OLS, and how we uh, know that whether this individual unique value for these coefficients is possible or not. But first, is it clear that what are the simultaneous equation models? When you have this endogenous and exogenous variables cases, like these all are simultaneous equation models. When you have a more than, simply I would say, when you have more than one single equation, that's the case of simultaneous equation models. Means you have to run that model side by side. It's not that first I'll run first equation, means I'll run OLS on this equation, then on this equation. No. Why? Because all these are interlinked, right? Means I can't do that. Let's suppose in this particular case. You might think that why can't we run regression for this equation, first equation, and we estimate beta 0 and beta 1? Then we can run regression for this equation and we will get estimates of coefficients of these two variables, consumption and investment. That's not possible because these are interrelated. So it's not that we can run this particular equation separately and this equation separately. No, they are interrelated. So we have to run it simultaneously. That's the first thing that you have to understand. And if that's the scenario, then we have to think it about that whether all is applicable or not, whether these unique coefficients estimates are possible or not. That's the second thing we have to understand. Is it first thing is clear that we can't run it separately? You might think that we can run and we have some estimates. Because this consumption is not only depend upon the income, this particular income, this income is also depend upon the consumption. So to get the actual coefficient of this income with respect to consumption, we also have to include this particular equation with this model. Then only we will get this actual coefficient of this beta 1. Means we have to include this particular equation with this model. Then only we can run it. Is it clear? Okay. Now, if that's the case, first I'll take now a problem. Let's suppose I'm taking this particular example. That what will happen if we apply OLS in this scenario. We have this consumption function. And we have this income identity equation, consumption and investment. Either you can write saving function or investment function. So what we can do is that, let's say I'll combine this particular equation. I can put it here like this: y equal to beta 1 plus beta 2 yt plus ut plus investment function. Let's say I run, let's say there is a coefficient with investment as well, beta 3, and I'll run the regression and I'll get some estimates. Means I have to incorporate this equation as well. Means it's not that I'm running regression on consumption first and income second and I'm getting these estimates. No, I have to run it simultaneously. That's why we say it as a simultaneous equation models. So now I have incorporated this equation into a second equation. So maybe you can now think is that we can apply OLS. Yes, you can apply OLS, means there is no restriction as such from the methodology point of view. But first we have to cross check that if we apply OLS here, is it that the results are unbiased, efficient, and consistent? And that's the thing we have to think about it. Now we have to cross check whether OLS will work here or not. Simple OLS, if we apply direct OLS, is it going to work here or not? So for that, we have to first understand that how it impacts the results. So generally in simultaneous cases, there are two outcomes. First, results are biased, and second, inconsistent. So before I prove these two things, that if we run OLS in this case, why results are biased and inconsistent, just again just get it in mind that efficiency meaning is that this variance is minimum. Why we need it minimum? Because we want that our estimates are nearby population, at least nearby population, so that we can accept those results. Now, what consistency is here? Consistency is generally that if sample size will increase, any one of you want to guess it? That word consistency is meaning in this OLS methodology, that when we say that results are consistent, as the consistency increases, biasness decreases. Yes, technically it's true. I need some more clarification. Estimated values are independent of sample size. No. As we increase sample size, our estimated becomes equal to population. Yes. Yes, Sadiq sir and Harminder sir. Yes. And how it will be? When it will be that our sample results will be population results. When this variance will reduce. Let's suppose the variance is, if sample size will increase, variance will reduce. Again, if I'll increase the sample size, variance will reduce. Again, if I'll increase the sample size, variance will decrease. Again, if I increase the sample size, variance will decrease. So there is a point when this particular estimate will be equal to the population parameters. That's what consistency is meaning. That with the increase in the sample size, variance of estimates will decrease. That means our sample parameters will be equal to the population parameters. So as you increase the sample size, these estimates will be nearby the population estimates because variance of these estimates will decrease. That consistency. And how it happened? If you remember this beta 2 variance equation, I'm taking simple case, sigma square by summation xi square. And this sigma square, if you remember, this is summation u hat square by n minus 2. So if we increase the sample size, this n will increase, right? And if this n will increase, the more and more the sample size will increase. This denominator value will decrease. If n will increase, this denominator value decrease. And there is a point after certain means, if it's a big, large sample size, then it will be nearby some zero. So that's why if sample size increase, this variance will decrease, and that's what we say as a consistent estimators. And that's we need because we need our estimators nearby population estimates. And if you need really equal to the population, that's only possible if you have a large sample size. Now these two properties, biasedness and consistency, unbiased and consistent, they are not possible in the simul. If we simply run OLS model in simultaneous equation models, the results are biased and inconsistent. That's the problem with the simple OLS methodology in case of simultaneous equation models. So let me give you this some small derivation that how results are now biased and they are inconsistent. So we have this equation. I can write it as beta 2 minus yt, beta 1 plus residual term and investment function. This is beta 1 by 1 minus beta 2 plus investment function by 1 minus beta 2 plus residual term 1 minus beta 2. Now, if I take expectation on both sides, it will be beta 1 minus beta 2 plus investment function by 1 minus beta 2. Then here, if we will take expectation with residual term, this term will be 0 because average of the residual terms it will be 0. So if I subtract this equation, let's say this is B equation, this is A equation, A minus B, this will become Y minus expected value of Y dependent variable. These two will cancel out. Result will be residual 1 minus beta 2. Now, generally, when we have a simple OLS process, these terms will cancel out, but now here results will be biased by this particular term. What that means is that this term will create these results biased estimators. Now, this is the thing that the covariance of these two terms needs to be 0. This is one of the OLS assumption that residual term is uncorrelated with independent variables as well as with the dependent variable. But in this particular case, no, this is not the case. The covariance between these two terms is not 0 because the covariance formula for this term is expected value of yt minus, and this covariance is creating a problem of biasness, ut minus expected value of ut. So this term is yt minus expected into ut because this term is 0, as we know. Now, if we will, I'll put this value here. The covariance will be expected ut1 minus beta 2 into ut. So it is expected value of ut square by 1 minus beta 2. This I can write as sigma square by 1 minus beta 2. This particular term is the variance of the residual term, and this is now covariance, which needs to be 0, but it's not a 0. And even if sample size will increase, it will won't become 0 because in denominator we have a 1 minus beta 2. So it will create a problem that results are biased and inconsistent. But in actually what we need results as unbiased and consistent estimators. So how these results are now unbiased and inconsistent, I'm going to use these two things. You have to just remember this part, that covariance is not 0. That's the one thing you have to keep in mind. And second, this particular term. So I'm going to use these two terms to prove the results are biased estimates. Generally, if you remember, to prove this unbiased results, we were using this KI-YI equation, right? in the OLS estimators. Let's say we will use that same process here. Beta 2 estimate is equal to yt upon summation yt square into ct. Here the dependent variable is c, right? And in the ki term, generally that term was xi by summation xi square. So in place of x as an independent variable, here our dependent variable is y. So I'm going to use this particular equation to prove the results are not unbiased but biased. So as we did in the OLS case, in the bivariate case, just put this equation population function here. This consumption function is beta 1 plus beta 2 plus this residual divided by summation yt square. Let's multiply these terms. Beta 1 summation yt plus beta 2 summation small yt into capital YT. In denominator we have summation yt square plus summation yt into ut upon summation yt square. So as we know that this particular term will be 0, as we have in the earlier case this summation xi is equal to 0. The same thing will be here. Then as we have their summation ki yi equal to 1. So this term will be 0 only beta 2 plus summation yt ut upon summation yt square. And if we take expectation on both sides, expectation of beta 2 at equal to beta 2, and now we have expectation of summation of yt into ut upon summation yt square. So this is a small yt because it outside the bracket we have this particular case. Now results are biased. It's not 0. Why it's not 0? That I proved it is that covariance between y and u is not 0. If it will be 0, then results will be unbiased. But since these results are not 0, this covariance is not 0, this is some positive value. So it means results are biased. Now what this biased is meaning is that on an average, these sample estimates are not equal to population. The thing is, it's many times that results are biased, but with increase in sample size, they will become unbiased. Now we have to check whether this problem will resolve if we increase the sample size. So for that, just put value for these equations. Now in probability, this expected value of A by B is not equal to expected value of A upon expected value of B. So here we generally use this probability limit. We say at probability limit, that is A by B is equal to expected value of A. Actually, it's probability limit of A by probability limit of B. This function we have to use in this equation to see whether with the increase in sample size, this term will be get 0 or not. If it will get 0 or the impact of this term will get reduced, then we can say at least with the increase in the sample size, results are consistent. They are biased, that we have proved. But now, second thing, we have to see whether with the increase in the sample size, these results will become consistent or not. So in this case, if we apply this in this particular case, probability limit to this particular value, beta 2 plus probability limit to numerator, summation yt ut, and probability limit to denominator, summation yt square. And let's divide these two terms by n. This first particular value, we have proved that this term is sigma square by 1 minus beta 2, and this is a variance of y. Now from this particular part, you can cross verify that even if we increase the sample size, this biasness will not remove. So results are not only biased, but they are inconsistent. This is the problem if we apply simple OLS method to this simultaneous equation model. Is it clear? I hope now this is clear that what biased is mean. The biased is mean that we need sample results equivalent to population, that we say unbiased. But if it's not possible, there is some biasness. So that means we can't rely on sample results, right? There is a biasness. But many times it is the case that with increasing sample size, this biasness will get removed. But in this particular case, this is not the case. Even if we increase the sample size, results will remain biased. So this is the problem with simple OLS methodology, that if we run simple OLS method in simultaneous equation models, the results will become biased and inconsistent. So it means there is some problem with the OLS methodology. So we need some solution for that. Is it clear? Anyone any doubt in this biased and inconsistent results? Okay. So now again we have, this is just if you can put this in a chart, like I told you in multicollinearity, the problem was with the variance inflating factor. And if it was perfect multicollinearity, then it's not possible to estimate the parameters. In heteroscedasticity, variance was increasing. That's creating a problem in the hypothesis testing. In this, then autocorrelation, again, the variance was the problem. In this particular case, not only the variance is the case, but the case is that results are biased. This was not the consequence in any of these cases, like heteroscedasticity, multicollinearity, or autocorrelation. But here, even this biasness is the problem. So consistent result take per over explain convenience. Inconsistent, generally we say that if we increase the sample size, उससे variance कम होता रहेगा. And if variance will decrease, वो हमें कम ही चाहिए, because actually what we want कि हमारे results जो है, sample results जो है population के equivalent हो, तभी possible होगा जब हमारे sample estimates, जो regression line के estimates हैं beta 1, beta 2, उनका variance कम हो. Generally, this is the variance formula, right? So if you increase this sample size, this numerator term will get reduced, so variance will get reduced. और जितना variance कम होगा उतना ही chances ये हैं कि result population के पास हो. But in this particular case, when we have this biased case, so in the end, in the variance formula, it's not possible that with the increase in sample size, variance will get reduced. Because now in this particular case, here if you increase the sample size, यहाँ पे कहीं डिनोमिनेटर में एक्चुअली n है ही नहीं, तो अगर आप सैम्पल साइज इंक्रीज भी करो, यहाँ पे है मीन्स इफ यू कैन इंक्रीज दिस पार्ट एंड दिस पार्ट, बट इस पार्ट में ठीक है ये पार्ट रिड्यूस हो जाएगा इसका न्यूमरेटर पार्ट, बट डिनोमिनेटर 1 - β2 उसको नहीं डिक्रीज होने देगा। तो इवन सैम्पल साइज कितना भी लार्ज हो, ये रिजल्ट्स बायस्ड ही रहेंगे। बिकॉज अनलेस आपकी ये वाली टर्म जीरो हो जाए सैम्पल साइज लार्ज करने से, तो आप कहोगे ओके रिजल्ट्स आर कंसिस्टेंट बिकॉज विद द इंक्रीज इन सैम्पल साइज ये बायसनेस जो थी ये खत्म होगी। बट यहाँ पे ये टर्म आप कितना भी सैम्पल साइज इंक्रीज कर लो, ये जीरो नहीं होगी। सो इफ इट्स नॉट अ जीरो, इट मीन्स रिजल्ट आर स्टिल बायस्ड, चाहे सैम्पल साइज कितना भी आप इंक्रीज करो। सो दैट्स अ प्रॉब्लम हियर, दैट if results are biased, we can't compare it with the population. So we need unbiased results. So this is the major problem with the simultaneous equation models if we simply run the regression by incorporating those simultaneous equations. So first we need a solution to this part as well, that we need results unbiased and consistent, because that's the property of OLS and that's what is the desirable property. And for that we were applying the OLS methodology. Okay, so this is the consequence of one of the consequence of simultaneous equation models. There is another consequence of the simultaneous equation models, that it is possible that you will not get unique estimates of parameters. This was the first problem. Okay, this is the first problem with the simultaneous equation models. Second problem is that many times we have to face this problem that either it's not possible to get the estimates of the coefficients, ये भी situation हो सकती है, there are scenarios, estimates are not possible. Second, more than one estimate for one coefficient will be the situation, or I would say not unique estimates. Generally आपके पास equation में एक like this y function, you need this one estimate for y, right, this β2. But अगर β2 की दो वैल्यू हो, let's suppose this particular y independent variable has a two coefficients β2, and there are two different values of β2, so we don't know which we have to apply, right? अब ये कैसे होता है, I'll come to that how it is that unique values are not possible, or it may be that estimate is not possible for all the coefficients. कुछ estimate हो जाएंगे, कुछ नहीं होंगे. This is the second problem with simultaneous equation models. First, and I hope now you will get that with OLS the problem is biased results and inconsistent. ये एक problem है simultaneous equation models के साथ. Second ये है कि either unique estimate ही possible ना हो, और maybe estimate ही ना कर पाए. अब वो कैसे होता है? Let me come to that point. For that, first we have to understand. For this second problem, first we have to understand endogenous variables and exogenous variables. Okay, let's take example from the book. If you can go by this, here all these properties are given, that y results are inconsistent and biased. I just explained this part to you. So just read this chapter, you will get more clarification. Okay, so let's take a next case. Okay, first understand what is endogenous and what is exogenous. It's also important to understand, like many time we do this exogeneity test, then endogeneity test, this Houseman test and all. So all these concepts are from this part of the simultaneous equation model. So the variables which have this interdependent relations are endogenous variables. For example, these y variables, like in this first case, y1 is the dependent variable. But in second equation, y1 is the independent variable. Similarly, y3 here is the dependent variable, but here it's a dependent variable. So variables which have interrelations, they are interconnected, they are endogenous variables, jointly dependent variables. Then there are other variables which are exogenous or predetermined variables. One of these x variables may take a value of unity to allow for the intercept term in the each equations. That's just a description that these models are not without intercept. Maybe any of these x variables will become intercept if coefficients for that variable is 1. So these x variables, because they are not interrelated, right? So they are predetermined variables or exogenous variables. Those variables which are interrelated are endogenous variables. I hope now it's clear. Endogenous variables and predetermined or exogenous variables. Okay, so then come back to this second part. Estimate कर पाएंगे unique coefficients for all these variables or not. Means in this case, okay, यही लेते हैं simple case. In this case, now second thing is, it is clear. In this case, now this income and consumption are endogenous variables and investment is exogenous variable. यहाँ तक clear है सबको? Endogenous and exogenous, that which variables are endogenous variables and which variables are exogenous variables. ये मैं second problem के लिए ले रहा हूँ, for second problem कि estimate हो पाएगा uniquely या over identified तो नहीं है. For that we have to understand this process. Okay, so if it's clear exogenous and endogenous, then generally we get these estimates from reduced form of equations. Reduced form equations. Now this is the another term that you have to understand. Then what are the reduced form of equations? These reduced form of equations we generally need to estimate the coefficients. Let me take this example of reduced form equations. And why this reduced form of equations? Reduced form equations. If I simply say, okay, let's take this case only. ये है क्या actually and why we are doing this particular thing? If we have a simultaneous equation model, like I told you in the OLS case, what we have to do is that we have to combine these equations, right? And then we have to apply the OLS so that we will get these estimates, right? That's what we have to do. But as I told you, if we do, the results are biased and inconsistent. But before that, वो तो तब होगा ना जब आपके पास ये results आएंगे, then you have to see whether they are unbiased or not. But before that, फर्स्ट थिंग इज इट पॉसिबल टू गेट ऑल दीज एस्टिमेट्स? ये सारे बीटास हम अगर इसको कंबाइन करते हैं, इफ वी कंबाइन दिस इक्वेशन, is it possible that we will get all these estimates? That's the first question mark here. So to understand that, first just understand this reduced form equation. Let's suppose I'll put this value of consumption in this particular equation. Yt is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 yt plus residual plus investment function. Now if I'll take this dependent variable, we can't put the dependent variable as a dependent and independent, so we have to take it in a one side. So it will become yt equal to beta 0 by 1 minus beta 1 plus investment function upon 1 minus beta 1 plus this residual term 1 minus beta 1. Just for simplicity, I'm writing it as pi 0. I'm just changing the notation, pi 1 of the investment function, and I'm writing it this term as wt, this term as wt, this particular coefficient as pi 1, and this coefficient for just for simplicity. There's nothing new. Now I have this equation, right? Yt equal to pi 0 plus pi 1 investment plus this particular variable residual in the form of wt. अब इस पे मैं ऑलएस रन कर सकता हूँ, राइट? बट एक्चुअली हमने किया क्या, हमने एक इक्वेशन को दूसरी इक्वेशन में इनकॉर्पोरेट कर दिया, एंड नाउ इसमें कोई भी ये सिचुएशन नहीं है कि मतलब आपके एंडोजिनस वेरिएबल्स कंबाइन हो रहे हैं. सो इन दिस केस वी हैव ओनली y वेरिएबल एज द डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल, कंजम्पशन हमने इनकॉर्पोरेट कर दिया, और हमारे पास सिर्फ एक्सोजिनस वेरिएबल है. So now we can run OLS on this particular case. So these equations we say as a reduced form equations. Reduced form equation. That generally means that expresses an endogenous variable solely in terms of predetermined variables and the stochastic disturbances. This is the reduced form. इसको आप consumption के form में भी change कर सकते हो. That's another scenario in this particular case. उसमें क्या होगा, consumption is equal to उसमें आप इनकम को पुट करोगे, सो दिस पर्टिकुलर विल बी बीटा 0 by 1 minus beta 1, and this coefficient will be beta 1 by 1 minus beta 1, and this term will be, let's say I'll write it w2, so that term will be residual by 1 minus beta 1. This is again a reduced form. इसमें मैंने इनकम को इनकॉर्पोरेट कर दिया, in this case I incorporated consumption in this particular form. So we have a dependent variable and only predetermined variable. So these are the reduced form equations. अब इस पे भी OLS रन कर सकते हो. If we run OLS from this equation, हमारे पास क्या आएगा, consumption function. If you run this, आपके पास ये income और investment equation आएगी. अब दोनों पे differently, oh, now you can run the regression. But हमारा target क्या है? What is our purpose? हमें ये coefficients चाहिए, right? This is the whole purpose. अगर हम इसे incorporate कर देते हैं in reduced form of equations, is it that we will get this coefficients or not? Any one of you can tell me that what is the advantage to run regression in form of reduced equation forms in comparison जो मैंने पहले यहाँ पे incorporate किया था. in this form. एक तो ये मेथड है, आप यहाँ रन कर सकते थे, राइट? But in place of this equation, if we run on these equations, what will be the difference? These are the reduced equation forms and they are the actual. मैंने उसमें भी incorporate, वहां भी incorporate किया था, यहाँ भी incorporate किया, but यहाँ पे एक basic difference है. नहीं 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 नहीं, ये नो. ओके, ये क्लियर है कि हमारे पास ये दो ऑप्शन है. अभी सारा भूल जाओ, बायस एंड में सब भूल जाओ. ये इक्वेशंस है, वी हैव दिस टू इक्वेशंस. One option is you can run this OLS by incorporating one of these equation in the another equation and get the estimates. That's the one option you have. Another option is you can convert them into a this reduced form. Reduced form is that where only predetermined variable is there in the independent variables. तो यहाँ पे कोई endogenous variable नहीं है. There is not a single endogenous variables in the equation in the reduced form. So मैं इस पे भी रिग्रेशन रन कर सकता हूँ, राइट? मींस आई कैन रन आइदर इन फ्रॉम दिस इक्वेशन और दिस इक्वेशन, एनी ऑफ द वे आई कैन डू इट. और मैं यहाँ भी कर सकता हूँ. इन दोनों में से मुझे ये बताओगे एनी इसका बेनिफिट क्या होगा इस रिड्यूस्ड फॉर्म ऑफ इक्वेशंस का? इफ वी रन अ रिग्रेशन ऑन दीज इक्वेशंस, what will be the benefit in comparison to run regression on this particular equation? Means, is there any advantage to convert a equation into reduced form of equation? कर तो हम एक ही चीज रहे हैं, हम इनकॉर्पोरेट कर रहे हैं दोनों को एक साथ और फिर रन कर रहे हैं, राइट? हम आई टोल्ड यू दैट इन द बिगिनिंग कि हम इनको अलग अलग ओएलएस रन नहीं कर सकते बिकॉज दे आर साइमल्टेनियस इक्वेशंस. So the method is we have to incorporate. अब incorporate we had two options. Either you can incorporate directly and run the OLS, and second, you make them in form of reduced form of equations and then run the OLS. So what will be the advantage if I run regression in OLS method in this particular case and estimate for these two values, not these betas? Is there any benefit of making them into a reduced form of equations? Anyone? आंसर यहाँ लिखा हुआ है. आंसर इज ऑलरेडी है. यस, ये प्रॉब्लम खत्म हो जाएगी. उन्होंने पल्लवी उस पे वो पेंडिंग है प्रॉब्लम. दैट्स व्हाई आई हैव पुट इट एज अ सेकंड. वो भी पेंडिंग है. अभी हमने एक सोल्यूशन निकाला है. अगर आप एंडोजिनस वेरिएबल्स को इक्वेशंस से, इफ यू रिमूव द एंडोजिनस वेरिएबल्स एंड ओनली इफ यू हैव अ प्री डिटरमिन्ड वेरिएबल्स एज इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स, आपकी जो ये प्रॉब्लम है बायस्ड और इनकंसिस्टेंट की, ये सॉल्व हो जाएगी. सो बाय making it in form of reduced form of equations, these two problems get resolved. So अब हमने जो OLS की problem, this problem was in this equation. If you remember, I have given this derivation that if you run OLS in this method, then results are biased and inconsistent. But now results are unbiased and consistent. So this problem is resolved by the simple solution of reduced form of equations. With this simple solution, you can get rid of this biasness and inconsistent. Yes, Pallavi, now it's a second question. अब ये यूनिक एस्टिमेटर क्वेश्चन वाला क्वेश्चन अब आएगा क्योंकि we have done this in form of reduced form of equations, but हमें चाहिए क्या था? We need these parameters, right? The main purpose is we need these parameters. In this form, you are getting these parameters directly. आपको कुछ नहीं करना था. But the thing is, results were biased and inconsistent. So we can't apply direct OLS here. So first you have to make it in form of reduced form of equations. This problem is not more is there. But now thing is, our purpose is not to estimate this pi 0 and pi 1. Our purpose is to get this beta 0 and beta 1, right? So this is the second thing, that if we run a regression, is it possible that we will get these estimates or not? That's the second thing. Now in this particular case, we have, if we run a regression in this equation, how many estimate we have to write? Pi 0 and pi 1. And how many coefficients we need? Let's suppose we run a regression in this particular equation. हमारे पास कौन सी value? Software will give us value for pi 0 and pi 1, right? And what is the values for this? Pi 0 is beta 0 1 minus beta 1, and pi 1 is 1 by 1 minus beta 1. So if you can put this value into a beta 1, from this equation you will get value for beta 1, right? Then if you can put this beta 1 value into this equation, you will get value for beta 0. So in the end we will get values for beta 0 and beta 1. So we will get estimates of this consumption function. Now results are not biased nor inconsistent. So with the reduced form of equations you will get. But many times this unique solution is not possible. That's the next problem, Pallavi. In this case, this is a very simple case, that we, after running this regression, we will get these two values, pi 0 and pi 1. And if we put these two values in these two equations, we will get unique value for beta 0 and beta 1. And that's the purpose, that actually for that we want to run the regression. So that's possible. But in many cases, either it's over identified, exactly, this is the exact case, or unidentified. This is the second problem. In this case, it's a very simple example. You will get these estimates. Now I'll take few examples where it's not possible. So that will create this second situation. Either estimates are not uniquely identified, means not unique estimates are not possible, problem of over identification, or under identified, कि estimate possible ही नहीं हो पाएगा. How? Let me take other examples. यहाँ तक clear है? In this case, we run the regression with the reduced form equations. हमारी दोनों problem solve होगी, biasness and consistent, and we will get these two estimates. तो ये, और इसको बोलते हैं indirect least square. Okay, this is indirect least square, ILS है. ये जो यहाँ पे अभी किया है process, इस process is indirect least square. कि हमने directly apply नहीं किया, because if we apply directly, problem is with the biased and inconsistent. So we applied indirectly with the reduced form of equation, and from reduced form equations we get actual estimates. So this method we say indirect least square method. But this is the case where exact identification was there and we have a unique estimates for beta 0 and beta 1. So if this is the case, then we have now the answer, that is indirect least squares. And after indirect least square, there is no problem of biasness and inconsistent. Is it clear? Till ILS? Anyone, any doubt till this part? that what indirect least square. We will do a few numericals with Stata tomorrow, or day after tomorrow, for ILS and other methods to SLS. That's the next part. But before that, this is the indirect least square. At first, you make equation in a reduced form of equation, and then run the regression. You will get rid of these two problems, biasness and inconsistency. Even in doubt, then I'll move to these two other problems. Yes, yes. But in this process, there are two other possible scenarios as well. This was a simple case. आपके पास solution आ गया. That's okay. If that's the case, it's better. But many a time you will face this problem कि आपके पास यहाँ parameters ज़्यादा होंगे, equations कम होंगी. That is under-identified. Second case, you have more parameters in the reduced form of equations, but you have a less estimates to estimate. So that's a case of overestimations. Let me take this example. To take this example from a demand and supply function. Let's suppose this is a demand function. That is quantity demanded. And then we have a supply function. Now, make a reduced form of equation. अब किसी को भी किसी में incorporate कर सकते हैं. Choice is yours. So let's take, I'm taking this first case. That incorporating quantity and taking this P as a dependent variable, this price as a dependent variable. Now, what will be the value for this coefficient? Beta 0 minus alpha 0 by alpha 1 minus beta 1, and this Vt is equal to alpha 1 minus beta 1. Another way of reduced form of equation is in form of quantity. In that case, this coefficient will be beta 0 minus alpha 0 beta 1 divided by alpha 1 minus beta 1, and Wt will become minus beta 1 residual of first and alpha 1 minus beta 1. Any doubt in these two reduced form of equations? That I'm keeping this as a dependent variable and incorporating other in this particular equation. Any doubt? So in this case, if you run a OLS, let's say Rima, we run a OLS on this equation. We will get only one estimate, right? But there are four estimates. In this particular case, we need four estimate. So with one equation, one parameter, four estimates are not possible, right? So this is case of under identification. First problem with the reduced form of equations. Under identification. हमारे पास चार एस्टिमेट हैं और हमारे पास एक ही वैल्यू है. So with one equation, four estimates are not possible, right? This is a case of under identification. Anyone, any doubt? For this equation, if you have a doubt, it's just that these two are equal, right? It is just that this equation equal to this equation, you will get this reduced form of equation. Same for the quantity case. Is it clear? Under identification. Okay. Other possible is over identification. So we have these problems with the reduced form of equations. That first problem was if we directly running the OLS, we are facing these two problems. To get rid of these two problems, we found a solution of reduced form of equations. But with the reduced form of equations, if all is well, then you have exact identifications. With indirect least square method, you will get the estimates. But if there is a problem of under identification or over identification, then this simple ILS will not work. We need solution for this under identification and over identification. And that's where we have this 2 SLS and 3 SLS. But before that, we have to understand the method that how we identify. It's not that every time we have to do this exercise that okay, this equation is over identified, this equation is under identified. No, there are two rank and order conditions with which you can identify whether equation is over identified or under identified. Okay, let's take example of over identified and then I'll come to those two conditions, or maybe I'll take those two conditions tomorrow. Those two conditions are to identify whether equation is over identified or under identified. Okay, so let's take example of over identification. Yeah, this particular case. Let's suppose we have these two functions. In the demand function, we added another component, R variable, that's the wealth. And in supply function, we have added last year price. But these three variables, income, wealth, lag of price, these three are predetermined variables and exogenous variables. And these two variables are endogenous variables. Reduced form is where we have only predetermined variables as independent variables. So see the case here. If we make these two in form of reduced form of equations, now you can cross verify. Only predetermined variables are as independent variable, no endogenous variable. So if we run regression in these equations, then there is no problem of biasness and inconsistency. So in this case, let's take a first case, this particular equation in form of price. If we run the regression, we will get estimates pi 0, pi 1, pi 2, pi 4. Yes, pi 3. 4 estimates. Now let's see how many equations we have. Pi 0. And how many estimates we need for this equation? Alpha 0, alpha 1, alpha 2, and alpha 3. So let's see, is it unique values are possible? Beta 0, alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 1, and alpha 3. So now what do you think? Is it that possible we'll get unique values for this alpha 0, alpha 1, alpha 2, and alpha 3 or not? If you will get all unique values, then that's the case of exact identification. If these equations are less than the number of parameters that we need, that's the case of under identification. And if it's more than that, that's the case of over identification. So in this particular case, the demand supply even structural coefficient, but there are 8 equations to estimate and the 8 reduced form coefficients. The number of equations is greater than the number of unknowns. As a result, unique estimation of all the parameters of model is not possible, which we can easily find out with this. For example, for this beta 1, 2 values are there. So that's the case where we have over identification. Although this particular model is not over identification for this demand function, but only for the supply function, because this problem is with the only supply function. If you can solve for this particular equation, means if we have these equations and if we have this alpha 1, alpha 0, alpha 2, and alpha 3, they have a unique values. So for demand function, this model is exactly identified, but for supply function, it's over identified. You can practice this thing. Yes, maybe I think it's already a 1.5 hours, so you're not getting this point. But this is today my point is only that आपको यहाँ तक भी समझ आओगे, that's more than sufficient. That I think it's hanged. Yeah. Simultaneous equation models. If you simply run the OLS by incorporating those two models, you will get two problems of biasness and inconsistent. If you run an OLS, if you convert these simultaneous equations into a reduced form of equations, then with indirect least square method, you can get estimates of all those equations. But in this process, there is a problem of many times of over identification and under identification. So next thing is, first, how we know whether equation is over identified or under identified. For that, we have rank and order condition. After finding it that whether equation is over identified or under identified with rank and order condition, then one of the solution for over identification is 2SLS. So this is exactly we are doing today. I think it's clear why results are biased and inconsistent. What are the reduced form of equations? how we get this estimates with ILS method, but that's only if they are exactly identified. There may be a problem of over-identified or under-identified. If that's the problem, then we need some solution that we will do tomorrow, day after tomorrow. But first, after that, now how we can identify simply with the equation, not that first you convert into a reduced form equation, then see whether it's over. No, we have a simple solution for that, that we say rank and order condition. With rank and order condition, we can exactly find whether equation is exactly identified, it's over identified, or it's under identified. That we will do tomorrow, rank and order condition. But before that, is anyone have any doubt in this particular part? And what is simultaneous equation model? What are the problems with simultaneous equation models? What is reduced form of equations? What is indirectly square? What is endogenous and exogenous predetermined variables? What is over identified, exactly identified, and under identified? If anyone have any doubt, please say yes. Otherwise, I think it's enough for today. Tomorrow we will do this rank and order condition and then solution for over identified equations. One of the solution is this solution for over identified 2SLS that we will do tomorrow with some numerical example with Stata. Is it clear? This box part is clear to everyone? Or if anyone not clear, then you can just write that still need clarification. Then tomorrow I'll take few extra minutes to take that part. But yes, you have to practice these things. There are so many examples in the textbooks. Just practice this, how to make reduced form of equations, how to identify over identification, under identification. That practice is yours. Is it clear? If it's clear, then we will do next part in tomorrow. So thank you so much. Tomorrow we will do one regression of ILS. Before that, this rank and order condition. Then 2SLS. That what will be the solution? For exact identification, we have a solution ILS. Now we have to think about over identification. And is there any solution? So far method is OLS. इसमें कोई और मेथड अप्लाई नहीं किया है, मेथड OLS ही चल रहा है. बट अब OLS रिड्यूस्ड फॉर्म इक्वेशन पे आ गया, डायरेक्ट पे नहीं है. सो यहाँ पे ML ही नहीं है, OLS ही है. Again I'm coming to this point. These are the four things. सारे econometrics, now you can cross verify. सारी econometrics यहीं घूम रही है. Unbiased, efficient, consistent, OLS method, MLE, as I told you yesterday. सारा कुछ यहीं घूमेगा. One might say it's econometrics is tough and maybe difficult, but सब कुछ यहीं घूम रहा है. बस आपको you have to link these, find the linkages between all these things. कि अगर किसी में भी कोई प्रॉब्लम हो रही है तो उससे आउटकम में क्या इफेक्ट आ रहा है और उसके लिए बुक में या मैथोलॉजी में क्या सॉल्यूशन है. दैट्स द थिंग यू हैव टू टेक केयर. दिस इज द इकोनोमेट्रिक्स. और बाकी आपका इंफ्रेंशियल साइड बाय साइड चल रहा है. Definitely we have to do hypothesis testing. So hypothesis testing में we are using these TF and sometime this chi-square. Only in MLE they have changed. In place of T, then Z in logit model, then in place of F, likelihood ratio, then chi-square for likelihood ratio, and for R-square, pseudo R-square. और interpretation हमारी दोनों में interpretations are different. So if you can find linkages and be consistent, जैसे इसमें है consistent, तो आपको econometrics समझ आ जाएगी. See, for this 2 and 3 months, it's not possible that I can make you perfect or anyone is perfect. Definitely, I have to learn many things. You have to learn many things, but at least you have crystal clarity about these concept that एक चीज चेंज होने से दूसरे पे क्या impact आ रहा है. If you can understand this process, आपको ये इन्फ्रेंशियल का समझ आ जाए कि इनसे इस पे क्या इम्पैक्ट होगा. डेफिनेटली दीज आउटकम्स हैव इम्पैक्ट ऑन दीज इन्फ्रेंशियल स्टैटिस्टिक्स एंड योर ऑन योर इंटरप्रिटेशंस. दैट्स व्हाट यू हैव टू डू मैक्सिमम एंड दीज थिंग्स वी हैव अ सॉफ्टवेयर. सो हमारा काम और भी ईजी है, बट ओनली यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस प्रोसेस. So that's why I'm insisting you reading more and more examples you have to practice. You will get better clarification about these topics. Okay, so thank you so much. Tomorrow we will do this first rank and order condition and 2LS methodology with some numerical example with Stata software. Thank you so much.